Good evening. It is so great to be here in this space with you guys. I posted today a quote and I wanted to share it because I think it is also such a fabulous quote for the topic that we're going to discuss here this evening. And the quote is by Cheryl Richardson. And she said, "If beating ourselves up worked, we would all be thin, rich, and happy by now." And that's so very true. Because beating ourselves up and seeing our lack doesn't actually move us any closer to where it is we want to be. Hi, Joni. Welcome. It's good to see you. Thank you for jumping in here. Feel free to say hi as you guys are getting in here this evening. Hi, Shannon. Okay. So we are going to talk about how our brains are programmed to keep us in this deficit where we continually see our lack, and it's really hard and challenging for us to see the progress that we are making on a day-to-day basis. Have you noticed that your brain typically feels like you go through every day and you don't achieve a whole lot, or have a whole lot that is motivating to you unless you accomplish something really huge? And I really want to know what your guys' experience of this is. So feel free to drop in the chat if that is something that does come naturally for you or not. Are you able to every day recognize things that you are doing that's making progress towards your goals? Or do you feel like you just kind of float through the day and it's kind of lackluster and you wish you were doing more than you are, but you're not? So I experienced personal story. I experienced falling into a void. Oftentimes from day to day, we live in the deficit. Yeah, Shannon, you say you float too. Sorry, the comments are kind of jumping. Actually, on my computer, they come up and then they fall off and then they'll come back up. So that's really weird. But keep commenting. Yes, and never enough. Thank you for stating that. That's so common. So common. People say they waffle, they float. There's another great word that someone used, and it's not going to come to me right now. If I think of it, I'll share because it's brilliant. Drift. That's it. Drift. Just drift. So, personal share. Back to the story. One of the biggest achievements I made early, I was young, in my young 20s, my very first half marathon I ever ran. And I did it stupid. I didn't research. I didn't take care of my body. I wasn't getting enough nutrition. I got really sick. I had bronchitis. And I had trained so hard for that darn race that I was running it anyway. And I ran sick with bronchitis, with inhaler, antibiotics, all sorts of medications, running the dang race. Did it. Did the thing, made it to the end. It was great. Yay, awesome. I'm sick. I'm tired. My body hurts. Yay, I did it. And then the next day I'm like, what am I going to do now? Not only did I fall into the deficit, I fell into the void of like, I have nothing to work toward now. And if I'm not working towards something, how dare I just be? Spending time wishing. Oh, Joni, I love that because we can turn those wishes into the visions that is manifestation. So you are so close to doing something so brilliant. Just bringing the energy behind the vision of the wish, hold that as an actual vision with the knowingness that it's coming, it's on its way to me, I'm creating, I'm manifesting. Wishing is not necessarily a bad thing. We just have to spin it a little bit to make it in a space of empowerment that's going to work for us. Katie, thanks for jumping on here. I strive so hard and I feel so accomplished, yet not quite accepted or accomplished. That's a beautiful sentiment to share too. Thank you for putting that out there. Because we can feel as though we have achievements and accomplishments, but then we have that ever nagging feeling that what we have done or what we do have isn't still enough. So our brains automatically take us to this place of the void, the deficit, the lack. And I'd like to compare that to a runaway hijacked vehicle. But in the meantime, while I talk about that, what I want you guys to do for me is to reflect on today. And I want you to share 3 things that you did. And I am going to share 3 things I did as well, because I think we all need a little bit of prompting and guidance with this to own our things and celebrate them. Because I put my laundry away today, and let me tell you, I want to celebrate the crap out of that. So if anyone has known me for very long or been around me in my methods of madness, I don't hate doing laundry. I hate putting it away. It is the most inefficient thing, and I have enough clothes that typically I do laundry about once every 3 weeks. And in another 3 weeks, I will have worn nearly all of those clothes. So why would I want to take time to put them away? Like, I'd rather just have them hang out in this basket. I can grab them out of the basket, go on with my day. So when I put my laundry away, I am celebrating that, because that is a thing. But how often do we sit here and feel like, oh, hey, yeah, I did the dishes, or I made some nutrition, like a good, rounded, healthy meal? It's just the expectation that we hold for ourselves. But those little things truly matter. If you're eating well, cooking for yourself, getting adequate sleep at night, you're setting yourself up for success for the next day. You're feeling good in your body. You're helping your mind have the fuel to work and fire the way that the brain can in an optimal way, versus being sluggish and low vibration and all of that, right? So I want to know, what 3 things do you have to celebrate today? And yes, they can be as simple as putting your freaking laundry away. Celebrate that. Additionally, today, I published a webpage, which is a big deal for me. That's not my zone of genius. And I did the majority of the work on it, like 98% of the work on this page. And it all came together so easily, which is new. So, super excited about that. And another thing was meeting people. So it's easy for me to want to stay in my rut, if you will, or work when I feel like there are things to do. I don't want to step away from that. I want to achieve and accomplish. And so when I meet people and network, that's a big deal for me. And I am going to celebrate that too. So I really want to know what you guys celebrate. And I really hope that you'll take pause for a moment and look at the things that you would otherwise classify as everyday, mundane, tedious tasks, and celebrate it. Celebrate it. Okay, let me catch up on comments here for a second. Oh, when does it turn into abundance? I love this question. So I recently took a course, and I'm going to repeat what the woman that I did. The visual was great. But when you, Katie, are working toward filling your cup and manifesting, right? And you're working in that mindset, you're working in the spiritual, you are using that feminine power, the manifestation, less of the doing, more of the creating, more of the seeing, you're filling the cup. And what happens is, oftentimes as people fill their cup, in the physical, things are nosediving. And so they bail on it. And they're like, it's not going to work. It's not going to turn out. It's not going my way. I got to do something different. I've got to pivot, whatever. And they stop and they put the cup down. I can't tell you how many times I've done this. A few. Not in that half marathon. Probably should have, though. Wasn't a great health decision for me. I still have injuries to this day because of it. But you have to keep going. And you cannot give up. And sometimes that might mean that you need a little support if you want the process to go faster. That's been my approach here in the last 6 months to a year. I want the express lane. So whoever wants to join my team that can bring what I need, come on board and let's fill this cup, because I want to get to that tipping point where I'm doing what I feel like is really at the level I was destined to do it. So I know a lot of that's ambiguous, right? Are you fulfilling, are you reaching a point of satisfaction within yourself that you know you were called and meant to do? And enough is a decision. For each individual, it looks different. So you have to honor where your enough is. Where is your enough for abundance? Where is your enough for money? And if you're not there yet, keep going. Keep going. Okay, SJ, I've always felt detached from acknowledgement, as in I always say and feel like I don't care if people acknowledge, because as a kid I never felt like I could do good enough. It was never enough. Also a great point. Wow, you guys are killing it in the comments tonight. I love this. Yeah, so there's a lot of stories that we all carry with us from childhood, and we have to rewrite that. We have to own that, whether it is fear of the attention and maybe blocking our ability to acknowledge, or blocking the acknowledgement from other people. So we will shine light all over other people, but if people are shining light on us, we kind of shrink and get small. And we just have to expand and take up space and shift that energy to be really comfortable with that, so that we can not just receive acknowledgement from other people, receive acknowledgement from ourselves. And if you tune into yourself and pay attention, those two things might feel very, very different for you. How it feels to acknowledge yourself may come way harder than accepting acknowledgement from other people, or vice versa, or there could be a block to both. So tuning into that and paying attention to that. Enough is okay. Yes, enough is your decision, Joni. So if you decide enough is enough for you. That's all that matters. And that's a valid point too. A lot of people do see enough as settling, but I would say that's not enough. That's lack. That's true lack. Because when we have that feeling where we know that we were made for more and we're giving up, it's really not actually enough. So there's a big difference there. Shannon, I love this. End of the month paperwork. Boom, get it done. I'm finishing mine up tomorrow. Thank you for the reminder. I got started on it today and I got sidetracked. You taught the letter Z. Zip, zap, and zoom. Oh, I love it. I love those kids. That's awesome. And I'm so glad you're there teaching those kids. So glad. Found a kid's CD that you had lost. Awesome. Yes, those are the kinds of wins I want people to start focusing on every day, because how much more fulfilling is it for you to reflect on your day at work and think about what I would imagine was elation in the kiddo that got his CD back or her CD back, and seeing the kids learn the Z and go through the words and having fun. That energy feels freaking amazing and fun to me, and I didn't even get to be there and experience it. The kids are so fun, and that sounds like a blast. Okay, so the hijacked vehicle. Let's jump back over to that point. Thank you so much, you guys, for the chat. The comments that you guys are coming in with this evening are fantastic. Debbie, hey, thanks for jumping on here. It's good to see you. So our brains naturally are like essentially a hijacked vehicle we're jumping into every day. We wake up, brain turns on, body turns on, and we go. And whatever that programming is, wherever it takes us, we just do the thing. Now, I lived in a hijacked body brain for the first 30 years of my life, and it wasn't overly fulfilling. I did okay for myself. My career, I made advancements. Relationships sucked. My health, not great. Yeah. Could have been better, could have been worse, but could have been a lot better. And so when people talk about, man, this mindset thing and changing my thoughts and reframing, and I had so much work, well, it can be. Again, if we get in the express lane and do some work with our, neural pathways and our programming of our brain, it doesn't have to be slow and hard. But it is so much more fulfilling to get in the driver's seat of the car and take it where you want it to go, right? Rather than jump in, no hands, let's go for a ride and see what happens. I'm hoping for the best. And that's really the difference of living and not knowing how the brain works, first of all, or knowing and not doing a lot to help ourselves out in getting where we want to go. Hijacked vehicle all over the place. Hey, Debbie, since you're jumping in, if you feel like sharing, the first thing we're doing here this evening is celebrating 3 wins of the day. So if you have any achievements, accomplishments, things you did today, I want to hear about it. We want to celebrate it. And this is part of reworking our brain to see the good rather than the lack, or the accomplishment or gain rather than the deficit. Okay, so we talked about the big achievements. We talked about that gap or the void. We talked about acknowledging 3 things every day. I want to talk about how this gets reinforced at such a young age. Okay, so first of all, our brains default to this, but then start looking around at the systems that we experience. And not to pick on the school system, but it's an easy one, right? So we tend to, by being in the deficit, look at others around us and compare ourselves to others. Unconsciously, consciously, a lot of both, to be honest. And when we compare ourselves to others, we're trying to live someone else's story that is not ours by design. And then we beat ourselves up about not being where someone else is in a journey that is not ours. It's not really rational. However, it is programmed into us. And a big piece that reinforces this in us is the school system. Because when you look at the school system and the grading system, it's largely grading kids against other kids. So for instance, another emotionally vulnerable share for me, I never felt like I was all that smart. My brother, who is an Enneagram 5, for those of you who know the Enneagram, so very intellectual, very brilliant human being. Love him. I always felt like I aspired and tried to do the things my brother did. I did that from a young age. It worked out great for me as a kid, like walking around carrying feed bags when I was a little tyke, and then being pretty strong to be able to protect and whatever with myself on the playground. It had some advantages, right? But I was constantly comparing myself to him and feeling like I was falling short. We are very, very different people with very different God-given design. And so my brother was 3rd in his class, and he ended up being the salutatorian because the first 2 tied, and there were 2 valedictorians randomly in his class. I ended up being the 3rd person in my class, but I was not the salutatorian, and so I felt inadequate, and I felt like honestly, not quite to the point of failure, but that was really hard for me. And this is what happens when we are in this system where we compare ourselves to others. And school does that at a very young age. Kids are not being taught, look at what you have learned from the beginning of the week to the end, from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, from the beginning of the school year to the end of the school year. There's such a blessed and sacred moment. I was visiting friends recently. We were out on a hike, and the dad was talking to his 2nd grader, and they were talking about spelling words, and I was celebrating, like I was soaring on the inside because this dad was talking to his kiddo about, hey buddy, how many words did you get right in spelling at the beginning of the week? And it was like 5 or something. And how many did you know at the end of the week? And how many bonus words did you get? And you got 100 on that test. And I'm like, yes, celebrate your kids. Teach them to be in that space where they're seeing constantly the progress that they're making rather than them living in the deficit of, well, maybe they're not the smartest kid in their class, or maybe 6 other kids did better than they did, or whatever that situation is. But this mindset is ingrained in us at such a young age that we don't challenge it and we don't question it, and we continue to relive it over and over and over. Okay. Hi, Morgan. It's good to see you on here. KT, so you got up at 6 a.m. Way to go. Way to rock that early rising. Completed 4-hour consultation session with a client. Amazing, because that sounds like a marathon. You biked 12 miles. killing it, and you're still awake and you're here. I love it. I'm so glad. That sounds like a jam-packed day. Well done. Sammy Joe, you were a salutatorian too. I didn't know that. I love learning these fun facts. Okay, so let's talk about 3 ways. We've looked at one already, right? So giving ourselves 3 wins for the day, 3 accomplishments, 3 achievements, 3 things that we can praise ourselves and celebrate ourselves over. When you start getting that positive energy every day, it is a snowball. It'll start rolling down the mountain, gaining momentum, and it's going to keep growing. So the more positive that you are about the things that you're doing, the more that energy is going to grow and grow and grow. And if we go back to what we were talking about with KT, where we're filling the cup, right? That's another way you're filling that cup. Keep filling it. It's going to overflow. Okay, the second way is a deletion exercise. So I want you all to think about something that is abrasive, irritating, annoying, something you're challenged with, struggling with, to the theme of relationships. Pick a person, perhaps, whatever comes easy, natural. Maybe it's work, maybe it's a coworker, like whatever that is for you. Just quickly, it's nothing that you have to belabor. Think of something that's a challenge. So for me, I can easily use my relationship. I love my significant other, and I am so grateful to be here, to be committed to one another, to have made it to the point in our relationship that we are at. But it was not always an easy road. And there was a large portion of time that not only did I question whether or not that we were going to make it, but I know he did as well. So I am going to reflect on that point in time where we truly struggled. And the exercise is then when you have that challenge or person, whatever it is, delete everything that's happened in your life in connection with them. Every person you've met because of them, every amazing experience you've had in life with that individual. If you're looking at perhaps a job you don't like, every single thing you've been able to afford in your life because of that income, because of that abundance, because of that source of prosperity. Delete everything. And it's going to be a big chunk of your life that's going to go. And then sit with that. I'm going to give you guys about 20-30 seconds to reflect on that. Delete everything out connected to that person, that thing, and imagine what your life would be like right now, today. And imagine every single thing you would have missed out on that is positive by not having had the challenge or the struggle that's come with it. And now when you think about what your life would look like right now without any of that, drop in the chat any takeaways you have from that reflection. Does it make it easier to see the positive? Does it make it easier to see things to be grateful for? Can you connect with that gratitude that you may feel? I know for me, I would not be the person I am today. I would not be doing this right here, right now, without my significant other. He has been my biggest fan. He helped me file my business. He prompted me to file my business. And when I couldn't figure it out, he did the paperwork for me. He walked me through it. He was kind. He was a gentleman. He was so encouraging. And that's just one tiny aspect. Tiny, tiny. And I am so grateful. Like, nothing lights me on fire more. Nothing makes me happier than doing what I do today. Yeah, so different. Definitely see the different perspective. So, anytime you get really frustrated with something or you feel that sense of lack in a situation, uh, deletion exercise is super simple. It takes a matter of seconds and it's not a reframe. And I think it's more powerful than a reframe, but reframes are powerful as well. I don't want to undercut them. But the deletion exercise really shifts so much perspective so quickly. Okay, and then my last tip on how to keep ourselves in this positive mindset in seeing our accomplishments, seeing our success, seeing our growth, seeing our achievements, seeing our progress. If you follow me for very long, you may know, I think it's been a while since I talked about this, but I have a morning routine, and I've talked about it way, way more, so I think some of you are familiar with it. If not, I'll break it down really quick. It's simple. I have a 30-minute routine every morning. 10 minutes of meditation, read 10 pages of a book, and then I also pray, meditate. I kind of consider them the same thing, but conversation with God, check in. Where's my focus going to be today? And I put my hands here because my awareness goes to my God spot that Sammy Joe has taught us about. This is where I go to connect and feel. And man, on the days God tells me to rest, it's a real challenge. Let me tell you folks, because it goes to this. What is going to happen? What is going to happen if I rest? What am I going to accomplish? What am I going to achieve? What am I going to do? I'm just going to waste a day. No, resting is not wasting. We're filling the cup on the spiritual aspect. Envision, right? See the future. Open yourself to receive all of those unexpected, unseen sources of whatever it is, abundance, money, yada, 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 whatever you're focusing on. So that's my morning routine, really quick, 30 minutes. And then I do also I don't necessarily stretch, but I like to kind of work my way into my body. I don't do exact yoga, but I also don't get up and just hit the ground running. I used to do that in my 20s. It's gross. I would get out at I would set the alarm for the very last minute that I could possibly wake up in the morning, and nothing needed to interfere with I did not have a moment to spare. There could be no hiccups. I don't do that anymore. So I also move in my body a little bit. Let myself settle back into my body to get started for the day. 30 minutes in the morning. The other way to truly capitalize on keeping yourself in the space of progress and growth is to capitalize on the last 30 minutes of the day. And this one takes some discipline for me. How many of us, you can give me a heart or a thumbs up or whatever, or crying. The crying face might be more appropriate. How many of us like to mindlessly scroll on our phones before we go to bed? Or watch TV? Or mindlessly scroll on the phone? So frequently that would fill my every night. And I didn't set my brain up to process through my sleep anything productive. Any rewiring, changing of the things that I wanted my unconscious mind to believe, to know, to focus on, to create in my future. And so taking the last 30 minutes of the day to reflect on things that I'm grateful for, to celebrate these 3 things of progress, and to reflect on what is priority for tomorrow. And that is the biggest thing, because if we set ourselves up the evening before with what we're going to go into doing the next day, we're much more likely to do it. So our brain will process through those things that we're seeing ourselves do the next day or we're setting as priority for the next day. And when we wake up in the morning, in our morning routine, if we quickly reflect on those things, so if you have to write them down, journal them, grab your journal in the morning, reflect on that, meditate on it, whatever works for you. There's more than one way up the mountain, as I always like to say, so I'm not here to tell you that your routine needs to look like mine. Make it your own. Do what flows for you. But if you spend some time with that, instead of our brain waking up and wondering, what am I doing? What's today going to bring? Let me jump in the hijacked vehicle and see where it takes me. And then we just kind of drift and wander and float. Be intentional with the last 30 minutes of your day and the first 30 minutes of your day. Focus on your achievements, and when you catch yourself being in lack with a situation, delete the entire situation from your life and see what your perspective is once you've done it. And your brain is going to start taking you to places you want it to go. All right? If you guys have any questions, drop them in. I'm going to wrap this up here in a minute. And I wanted to share with you all, for those of you who are local, Sammy Jo and I are going to be at Mystic Fest, and I cannot believe that we have not posted about this yet. It's absolutely the best event here in this area. So the second Mystic Fest of the year, the final event, is this weekend, October 1st and 2nd, at the Mid-America Center. And the hours are 6 to 10, I believe, on Saturday, 11 to 5 on Sunday. There are so many incredible vendors. Come meet them, come say hello to us. If you would like to have a mini session with us, you can certainly do so. We would love to walk you through a personalized session. And then also stay on the lookout for our next workshop that's coming up on, I believe, October 24th. Can double check the events to be sure. But we're going to have a workshop on refreshing your relationship. And it's not going to just be the woo-woo energy stuff, and it's not just going to be practical tips. It's going to be a combo of both, of course, because that is just the way we do it around here. So if you are having any challenges in your relationship that you would like to get some perspective as well as shift some energy around, we would love to have you October 24th. That event you can find, like I said, under the events. We'll drop the link in the comments. And it is free, but you do have to register to grab the information to join us. So be sure to do that. One last peruse. Oh, October 19th. What am I talking about? Thank you, Sammy Jo. So actually, that event is October 19th. October's packed with a lot of things for me, which I'm super excited about, but the dates have not gotten stored in the right place in my brain. Wonderful information. Thank you, Joni. Thank you so much for being here. I'm glad that this was useful. I look forward to seeing you this weekend. That makes me very happy and excited. I know I've heard from a couple other people who are going to be coming by, so I do look forward to seeing all of you. For those of you who are not local, keep an eye out on the discussion board and also your email. There's going to be a very special opportunity coming out for you guys very soon as well. Hopefully we'll be announcing that tomorrow, but just in case, it will be coming in the very near future. And so keep your eyes peeled for that. We don't want any of our promos, if you will, or opportunities to be just for people local. We want it to be for everyone. We love the virtual atmosphere. We want to support people in the virtual as well. So keep your eyes out. We have something special coming your way as well. So thank you, everyone, for joining me here this evening. I am so freaking excited to see how what's to come as you build this progress and you snowball that progress, and you can build that energy and keep your energy elevated so it comes easier and easier and easier and easier. They say, and this is no lie, I assure you, the hardest part is in getting started. And that getting started might be 1 year for someone, it might be 5 years for someone else. I feel like my phase of getting started, because I dilly-dallied around, I'll own it. I was like, yeah, I might work on my personal development. Yeah, once every 6 weeks or something. Sounds good. Dilly-dallied. My getting started was 8 or 9 years. 8 or 9 years. It doesn't have to be that long, but getting started is the hardest part. So that is why it's so, that principle of compounding energy, it's so important. Snowball it. So stay in the progress, stay in the gain, stay in the positive, and good things are going to come your way. Okay? I will see you guys very soon. Thanks again for joining me here this evening. It was great, and I hope you have a wonderful evening.